Chapter 8: Historical Research.
What is the word history?
History meant an inquiry designed to reconstruct past events, and in a sense, historical research can still be defined as a scholarly attempt to discover what has happened.
What is a historical research?
Historical research typically goes beyond mere description and attempts to interpret the facts as reconstructed.
What is the purpose of historical research?
This provides a clear perspective of the present, to facilitate planning for the future by identifying general principles applicable to recurring situations.
The historical awareness is based on three principles: the difference, context, and process.
Difference is the recognition of the gulf which separates our own age from all previous ages. Context means that the setting for the subject of the inquiry must be retained. The third is the process, is the relationship between events over time.
The chronology can be defined as simply the describing of events in the order of other occurrence, a process similar to the older concept of historical research.
History has two dimensions. 1. Historical time, or the chronology which takes into account the spacing of events and pattern. 2. Historical space, or where events occurred, i.e., geographical location. Importance of historical research to librarianship.
Historical research can contribute to the body of knowledge about librarianship. It can increase our understanding of how, when, and why past events occurred.
In short, a knowledge and understanding of good historical research can help librarians build on the past in an efficient, effective manner to avoid reinventing the wheel and to develop new theories.
There are 6 different types of historical research according to Hillway.
1. Biographical research. 2. Histories of institutions and organizations. 3. The investigation of sources and influences. 4. Editing and translating historical documents. 5. Studying the history of ideas. And 5. Compiling bibliographies. Sources of historical information.
The data gathered in historical research can come from a wide variety of sources. Among the more commonly used are the following.
1. Official records, such as laws, deeds, annual reports of organizations, charters, and so on. 2. Newspapers and other periodicals. 3. Eyewitness accounts of events, archives, manuscripts, letters and personal diaries, biographies, autobiographies, and memoirs, historical studies, literary writings, oral evidence, memorials, catalogs, schedules, agendas, and etc.
Evaluation of historical resources. It is critical that they be evaluated properly. The researcher should want to know if the resources are relevant to study, substantial enough to be worthwhile.
And it should involve in 2 basic processes: the external and internal criticism.
The external criticism is the gathering of external evidence is done to determine if a source in fact provides authentic primary data.
While the internal criticism is generally more challenging than external criticism, and it too, often difficult if not impossible to achieve with absolute certainty. And here's are the basic steps of historical research. The hypothesis of historical research helps to increase the objectivity of the study and minimize researchers' bias. The data collection techniques for historical research basically involve putting together in a logical fashion the evidence derived from documents or records. Shiflett defines library history as a rubric that covers a myriad of topics associated with libraries and other information systems. Bibliographical research takes the form of descriptive bibliography. Certainly comes closer to being true research than does systematic or enumerative bibliography. In systematic bibliography, person involved in the compilation of systematic or enumerative bibliographies are concerned with the bookend. Here are the results on the list. The descriptive bibliography is in contrast to systematic bibliography. Descriptive bibliography is concerned with the book as a physical entity or material object. This process can be broken down into specific bibliographical research, including the following in the list.
The problems in historical research.
There are a variety of problems are common. Most types of research but tend to be particularly important in historical research, including the following on the list in the next page. Other problems in historical research and criteria for evaluating historical research can be drawn from the general research guidelines discussed earlier in this work.
The historical researcher must work from evidence back to the event. In addition, the historian is usually in the situation of having to investigate exceptionally complex phenomena.
Thank you for listening.